All right, hello everybody out there in YouTube land. I think you guys should be able to hear and see everything at this point. Let me know if you're having any issues with that, and we'll cover it. Let me know if you can see my chart and hear me okay in the chats, and then we'll get going. Sorry for the slight delay there, running a couple minutes behind. Internet was being a little bit silly trying to get connected this morning. So let's see what we got so far in the chats. I need to make sure there's no charts that got asked for before I got here. How are you guys all doing today? Hopefully good. Don't forget to hit the like button. We got 9 people here so far. No reason why we shouldn't have 9 to 10 likes already. And we will get going on everything. As always, guys, the ways we run these streams is everybody just goes ahead, put in your altcoins. The first thing I do is I always go through Bitcoin first, and then Ethereum, and then we will move into all the altcoins that you guys got, okay? So we'll do basically all the charts until we run out of time or run out of chart requests. So for now, I'll go cover Bitcoin and Ethereum, and we will come right back and handle any altcoins that you guys put in the chat. As always, smash up that like button, hit the little emojis down in the chat, and have fun chatting in the chat. It helps get the stream seen by more people. So as always, go ahead and go nuts in there. The first thing that I think we have to talk about is going to be the Bitcoin macro counts and what we think may or may not be going on there. I think this is more important than anything. I'm going to be tracking this on linear so that I don't have unrealistic targets. As always, we've already talked a million times about this, but we talked about how we have potential 1-2 stacking down low and a triple 1-2, leading to need a triple 3-4 at the tops. What we're going to be watching out for right now is the potential for a pivot somewhere here on our local lower time frames and begin to look for potential downside, okay? So let's switch over to our regular Bitcoin chart and let's just talk on kind of like a 4-hour time frame, what our thoughts are and what might be going on, okay? Now that you know the macro scenario, it helps a little bit. So that means you would have the top of a wave 3 here, and we are starting a wave 4. Now, we've counted this time and time again, so we won't go beat it up too long, but I think we have a possible W, X, Y that ends here. I think that makes it where we do still have the potential of this just being an A wave, and we're looking for a B wave. Now, we'll talk our way through this as we go, okay? Now, I don't think that's the high of the B wave. I think it would be a really short B wave correction, and I'll show you what I mean by that soon. But if we measure in time from the 0 point to the lows of a potential A, B waves typically like to, you know, linger and lag and carry on, right? Meaning they typically even make it past the 1-to-1 in time, if not further out to maybe even the 2 in time, right? So B waves are kind of lingering and lagging in that way. I don't feel like the top of this is in, but I'm very open to it. With as choppy as this move is up so far, I do not think it is an impulse or a diagonal to the upside, right? I can't, for the life of me, say that this is a strong reversal point yet. Now, if we were wanting to look for this to be more to the upside, I would be very open to saying this was an A into a potential B, right? So we have a move up, a 3-wave connector, and now you're chaining together a series of moves in a 1, 2, 3, potential 4, and then it makes the 5th wave to give one more high, right? I could also be very open to that in this B wave scenario. This invalidation point was not valid anymore. And this could be very well what we see, right? A move up to the 702, if not the 786, getting back in that 4-hour internal fair value gap. Now, if we reject it from here, we'll move that C point over. We'll call the B wave here possibly. Or another thing that we could see which might not be the most fun way for this to go down, would be that this is just the first leg of a correction up. It comes down and then corrects upwards again. But we'll continue to watch this as this kind of progresses. You should be able to notice here that we have our low time frame fib extensions on. And those are just here for the local price action in this correction when we go to an hourly. When we look at this, you can see there was a potential 3 waves down and a potential 3 waves up that ends in a nice strong motion towards the upside that could have been a C leg. And then it's followed up by a nice strong 5 waves to the downside. Now, if this is able to form a reversal here, and that was an ABC, then we could look for something. But with this making a new high, you should also be aware that these 5 waves to the downside could be the start of the descent here for Bitcoin. So it's something to be aware of. So we'll be watching that on lower time frames in the Discord. But for now, overall, I'm very open to Bitcoin giving the one more high. But at some point, I do expect this low here to be taken, because the 4-hour price action is not giving any sort of impulse to the upside yet. And by that, we mean that if you use extensions from a 0 to a potential pivot of an A to a potential pivot of a B, you can see that we are tangled up at the 1 through 1.382 with rejection candles, flat top rejection, big wick rejection off the 1.382. So I'm also very open to that reversal here. If Bitcoin were to get the one more high with the higher C wave, I would say we could look for the 1.618 around 118,000. That would hit that 618. That would really get people going. Would roll this last pivot of external liquidity and potentially let it move up like that. So something to be looking for. All right. Now let's go look at what we have next. That'll be Ethereum. So potentially here on Ethereum, I'm counting this as the high of a wave 3, like we've talked about numerous times now. Okay, we've talked about how that could be the potential high of a wave 3, because when we pull extensions from 0 to 1 to 2, we notice a successive 5-wave motion that ends after a 1.618, giving it probability to be a wave 3, right? So I'm going to look for a nice strong rejection in 5 waves here to the downside and a possible C to take the lows of this A. That would then move into the daily fair value gap left behind here for liquidity and take Ethereum around down to around the 1.236 to 1.382. Those values would be around 3,800 to 3,700, right? So that also is in confluence with the 0.382 retracement taken from the lows of 2 to the highs of a potential 3. We'll be tracking this as it goes and carrying it on in the Discord to see what's there. One thing that we like to keep in mind here with corrections is that if we go from a high to a low with a corrective base channel, we typically stay in these base channels, right? So I wouldn't be surprised to see that strong leg down to back test the 4K level, a slight rise up in the 4, and a final scary move in the 5th. Maybe it just barely peaks out of the channel, but that would really be an opportunity that I would be looking to be part of. So, all right, sorry, something caught my eye. Let me go check the chats and see. Do you guys have any questions over Ethereum, or do you have any questions over Bitcoin at all? Please let me know and we'll get going. Let me say a quick hi to all the homies. What's up, Brian? Hi, Addy. As always, you're always here. Daneska, what's up? You're always at the live too. Brian is too, man. All right, who else we got in here today? Any new names in here today? Amazon Padids. Hey, what's up? How are you? Where are you from, my dude? What country are you from? I'm from West Coast America. I think a lot of the folks that you see in here right now might be people from the UK mainly. What's up, Nameless Monster? How are you, my dude? Hopefully you're well. Thank you, everybody, for all the likes, dude. We're already at 11 stream likes and 17 people watching. I'm just checking through the chats to make sure I get all you guys' altcoins written down here. All right, so it looks like the first one we got is for ONDO. So let me write that down. I just want to make sure I don't miss anything here. Top 100. Yeah, dude, we'll do. Daneska, we're going to do all top 100 altcoins in the cryptocurrency space today. So we're just going to cover all the altcoins, babe. We're going to stay on all day. All right. So I think I almost missed it. So it looks like the first one here was not ONDO. I apologize. I was reading too fast. I thought I saw ENS first. So let's write ENS down. ONDO. And I think I saw someone mention AERO. All right. I got ONDO for you, Daneska. Someone asked, can we check out Sol on some point? Yes, sir. I will get that done, Brian. All right. Mondays are goated. Thank you, dude. I really enjoy doing this. Yeah, Sol would be interesting to see. I agree. I wanted to say short, but it ain't happening. Oh, JDM, how are you? Let me write down Roar, dude. And let's look at that for you guys. And while we're covering Roar, I'm also going to... Oh, Cryptic Drive's here too, dude. Send all your homies. Tell them all to come in. Let's chat. Let's check Roar and GME at the same time. I had GME consolidating in a triangle up here at the highs. So I do think we could see that move. Roar in the house. HDELT, nice to see you here. Welcome to the live stream. Currently up 50%, dude. Hell yeah. Smash up that like button, dogs. Let's get this thing pumping. We got AIOZ, and that is coming in for Gert. And I got Ethereum already done spend. Let me know if you have any questions. Oh, what's up? Kitty Roar. The big cats, dog. You guys' chart has been doing really, really good. Nice, Amazon. You're from Spain, dude. I have a lot of big dreams to go see Spain one day. Roar now or meow later. People are going to be so sad when they don't have it, huh? All right, and then we got FARTBOY here is the next request that I see. And if you guys have any requests, just get them in, dudes. I see 20 of you here, and I don't have 20 chart requests, so I know y'all got more. Ted A says FARTBOY and SHX. I have never heard of SHX, so that'll be a fun one to look at. Can't stop the Roar Army. That's for damn sure, dude. You guys, roar to $4. What's up, Sean? All right, CTO. Yeah, dude, the CTOs are blowing my mind. The strength of the FARTBOY community and the Roar community absolutely blows my mind. What's up, Ed Alexander? Of course, FARTBOY. I got numerous people wanting that, so we'll get that done. No devs, no rugs, dude. I love it. Thank you for letting us know that. Yeah, if you guys don't mind in the chat for the stream, while I go through these next couple charts, if you guys could just let me know, what is it that you like the most about your project, right? What is it that pulls you in to really want to be a big part of FARTBOY or Roar or XRP or whatever the thing is, right? So just let me know, guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts. All right. So on ENS, let's really quickly take a peek at this to make sure we're not wrong on a 1-2. So we want to measure from the lows of the first 1-2 to the highs of the 1 to the lows of the 2. We want to make sure that this secondary 1-2 or gold 1-2, let me turn off this magnet before it pulls me in, is not bigger than the first. So because of that, we can still side with this being 1-2, 1-2. Now, we're not really getting going impulsive here is my only concern. So there is a chance that this could sweep the low. But as we've shown before for ENS, invalidation doesn't come until that $16 is lost, right? So as long as we're holding this zone, even if we make another pullback like we've talked about in other streams, that's why we kept the C wave down here. I'm fully open to a pullback into that 21 or even down to back test the 20 and eat up some of the internal fair value gap left behind on ENS. But the thing is that when we go to the weekly here, we can see this had a potential strong 5 waves to the upside, right? The thing that is hard for ENS is trying to figure out what this big mammer jammer here is, right? So because of the 3 waves down and the 3 waves up, I have to side with at least this being an A, B, and a potential C, right? Though running flats are rare, meaning that this C wave low did not take the low of this A after an expansion, makes it super rare, but it doesn't mean that it can't happen, right, guys? So when we were looking for that C wave to make the move towards the upside, let's delete everything so it can be a little not messy for you. You were looking for a partner leg of this first said leg, right? So if this is A into B, and now you're looking for a C wave to the upside, we're measuring from the lowest part of the would-be B, you were only looking to make it to 47.58 to 85, right? So still amazing gains, but it is quite choppy, right? So the only thing that I would really be concerned about is being wrong and that this actually be the pivot and the start of something to the downside, right? So losing this invalidation around 16 will really toast it for Ethereum name service. And if you're looking for your bias or probability shift point, I would measure a retracement from the lows here around 1589 to the highs of that second 1-2 that we were calling. And I would zoom in a little bit. And as soon as you start losing what would be the 786 taken from low to high, probability will shift. So if Ethereum name service starts losing 1869, probability will be to take these lows after that. So that is when we will see the bears take over. But for now, I'm going to stay biased towards the bulls for now, and we'll see what happens as we keep this thing going, okay? All right, so we've already talked about Ethereum name service and its targets. Let's move on to ONDO. All right, so this was a good thing, right, on the lower time frames. But if you're wanting to be a bull, right, what do you need? You need a motion towards the upside with separation and no overlap. So if we're wanting to be bulls here on ONDO, sorry, I don't come with my charts completely prepared with everything for you to see on it. I delete everything all the time and then just redo it as we go. All right, let me make sure we're still on the same page. So if we're wanting this to be the start of something on ONDO off these lows, that means this then has to be a wave 1 into a wave 2, or an extended correction that ended over here in a 2 and didn't take the lows. I would also be open to that, but this has to be the start of something in a wave 1. And I'll put the labels on here to help your mind if you're not familiar with Elliott wave. I also urge you to ask questions, right? Because that's the only way you're going to learn and then catch your own fish one day. So what we're looking, let me make sure I'm on log. What we're looking for here is this to make one more move towards the highs. So your probability shift point for a wave 4 happens if we pull a retracement from the low of a 2 to the high of a 3. As soon as a wave 4 starts to lose its wave 4 retracements, which is the 0.5 retracement shown here at $1, not $0.942, right? So you have invalidation at 98 cents. You have the potential for a wave 4 play here. You could zoom in and try to see if you have something here. It looks quite messy. Even this is going to be a hard sell as a 5-wave motion toward the upside. Here's another example of what would kind of take away my my vibe that this is going to be a wave 4, is that this wave 3 really doesn't have much displacement about it, and we can't count 5 waves within the wave 3, right? So you would be really hard pressed to say this is wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The math wouldn't math out very well. Yes, it did make the 1.618, but because of this structure here in the 3 and the possibility that this could lose the 0.5, which is the lowest we would like to see it come in a wave 4, I would say for me, you know, if I was a holder of ONDO, it starts losing $1 and I'm really starting to consider when do I de-risk, right? What do I do to get out of here? Because it would start to stack up as not bullish, right? Let me know if you have any other questions over ONDO. If it can form a reversal, we'll get to that later, but right now it's not validly, I'm trying to pick the right words here, making that valid reversal yet, right? So let's keep watching its invalidation, and we'll go from there. All right, so on AERO, this is something that we've been talking about a lot this morning in the Discord. This is very, very difficult to say what is going on during this portion of it, right? So we all know our macro counts. We've talked about it a million times, and how that would result in much higher prices, meaning 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Moving into 3, 4, it needs to break out again and make another 3, 4. But as you can see, this is starting to become lower probability right now because of how lingering and lagging this price action has been. We all know invalidation for AERO, but let's just cover it again really quickly. In my opinion, you do what you want with your bag, but if it even loses this low, at $1.05, AERO is done. And in my opinion, I would be watching as soon as it tries to lose even that low at $1.16. I would say it's done. The problem here is that we could potentially count this also as a corrective motion toward the upside, like we have talked about in the community before. This could be 3 up, 3 down, and 3 up again, making a WXY, which could possibly mean this is the bearish rejection, right? So this could be a wave 1 into a wave 2, and then you would get separation in a 3, 4, and 5, come back up and reject and make new lows again. So that's something to be aware of, right? I'm not saying it's got to go bearishly. I just want you to know that's one of the options. That's why I always share invalidation points with you. Nobody else wants to do that shit because, oh, when it invalidates, that means you're wrong and everybody saw it happen. I'm very okay with you guys seeing me be wrong time and time again because that is trading, right? That is reading the charts. You're not always going to nail it, so that's something you got to be open to. The reason that we're not flopping to bullish here on AERO is because off the moves, we have a very clean 3-wave motion, right? Not a 5-wave motion, not an impulse. And then again, another really shitty 3-wave motion. And then a pullback. Right? Like, none of this is going super well so far. I could even try to lie to myself and say this is a 3-wave correction and this is a 3-wave motion toward the upside, and maybe this is a W and an X and a local Y in 3 waves, right? We talked about that also in the Discord this morning. This could be happening in a WXY, which means from 0 to W to X. And your Y typically comes to 1 through 1.236, right? So let's say this breaks the $1.36 level. Then we will have to try to count something different than what we have currently. But as long as this is holding as resistance, it would definitely give me a little bit of hesitation here to say that it's definitely over as a correction and that you may not invalidate. For me to get bullish on this, we need to keep on coming up and get away from this invalidation, right? Because right now you're doing well. You're making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. As soon as we make break our higher low structure and we stop going up the stairs, those bears will take control and really dump this. So be aware of it. Be watching it. All right, that was AERO. Let me know if you have any questions over that. Let me go back here and make sure I'm not missing any sort of charts while you guys are chatting. Can't stop the Roar Army, baby. All right, I got XRP from Ed Alexander coming in. Thank you for that. CTSI, I haven't looked at this in fucking forever. For Nameless Monster, we got METAFOX. Man, you guys are chatting it up in here today. I hope everybody's having the best start to their week, man. And then we got Hype USDC. USDC. And as always, guys, some of these, if you'll let me know what exchange that you guys possibly want these charted on, that way I can get you the most. What's up, Millsy? I got Roar written down, my dude. We got 27 people watching. Smash up that like button. No reason we shouldn't have 27 likes already. And thank you for the 17 we already have. Dude, I like that about Roar too. 1 billion supply, almost 1,500 holders, and is about 30 mil tokens available for grabs. Supply shock incoming. I think the charts are amazing for it. Let's go. We'll get to looking at that soon. I haven't missed anything else, so I'm going to move on into Sol, and then we will keep going. I've already, just to be open with you guys, I'm not a financial advisor. I've already left 75% of my AERO bags. And if we start to come down and some sort of thing, I'm also going to leave the last portion, okay? And I'm going to walk away and take my investments to other places because I've already made enough money on this. All right. What's up, Yazin Ben? Is that how you say your name, my friend? I hope you are well. I see that you asked for Chainlink. Are you a spot holder of Chainlink? Are you guys in here? Are you mainly traders? Are you mainly spot holders? What do you guys do? Let's go look at Solana while I'm waiting to hear back from you guys. I would say that I'm mainly a trader, right? I'm not much of a hodler. I don't try to hold on for dear life, right? I'm usually looking for what's going on in front of me, so that I can figure out how to manage my stuff better. Nice, Yazin. Spot holder. I think on Chainlink, then, you are solid, my dude. But I will cover that chart more in depth here in just a second. So the thing that we have to talk about here on Solana is going to be a couple things. I just want to delete everything off the chart, and I want us to just have a conversation really quickly, okay? So we've talked about Solana numerous times. I do think that this would be an odd high. I wouldn't be amazed to see this actually push through and make a new high off of here. Let's go to an older chart. Excuse me. That's better. All right. So when we look at Solana making its run up these stairs from a 0 to a potential wave 1 to a potential wave 2, we can see what? We break the 1.618, meaning this is definitely impulsive. It's definitely making moves towards the upside. Now, you can see that it even runs all the way up to near the 2.618, which is the most common extended wave 3 target after the 1.618, right? So extended wave 3s like to really take it up the stairs a bit. So there's a couple things here, and we'll go through them as we go. One scenario, which used to be my main count, was that this was wave 3, 4, and 5. Okay, that's how I really wanted to look at Solana. Now, when I zoom in and I start to really look into this, I'm open to this being 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, meaning we need successive 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, so that we have the same stacking, right, of 3 happens at the top. So if that's possible, this could be your first 3, 4, second 3, 4, and last 3, 4. Right? And I think that is how Solana would get more to the upside. Invalidation is easy for this. Let me go back one more. If we're going to move this and say we're going for another 5, and wave 3 is here, wave 4 is here. Let's look at the wave 4 retracements to see if this even got close, just making sure we're on log. I don't know if this hit the minimum, but let's check. It pulled back at least to the 0.236 and damn near hit the 0.382 and pretty much back test the area of the 1.618. The other thing that we like to see is a hidden bull divergence, meaning a lower RSI in the 4 than in the 2 while price action remained in an uptrend, meaning that the price action closures actually made higher closures, but the RSI made lower closures, right? So let's see if we've got that. Let's drop some vertical lines so that your eyes can see it really well. Let's go back one little nugget. There we go. Come on, mouse. I'm using one of those wireless mouses and the batteries is dying on me. So to me, that looks pretty good, right? You have a lower closure on RSI than you do on price action in a wave 4. That kind of sets Solana up for the potential that this was giving it more room for the upside, right? So you would go for this wave 5 target. Now, with this being on the weekly, I often like to use my targets on linear, Now you can track this on linear or log. That's up to you, but I'm going to watch the initial reactions at our linear targets, right? So we do have logarithmic saying that our next target would be around $890 for Solana. On logarithmic, that also lines up really nicely with your expanded B retracement, which is the most common area of interest that something could retrace up to. So 591 to that said 890 could be the wave 5 target zone if we're looking at this on logarithmic, right? So this could be something to look out for. We're going to cover all the scenarios, folks. So if you have any questions over Solana, do let me know. Now, if we were to put an acceleration channel from the lows of 2 to the lows of 4 to the highs of 3, we would look for this to stay within the acceleration channel and find resistance around the highs. Now, until we see Sol start to move up and kind of interact with the center line and break those highs around 314 level and the 2.618 resistance, I really don't want to get too bullheaded with saying it's going to do this, right? These gains aren't bad, right? They're still 200 and something percentage away. Again, do keep in mind this is on log, right? So sometimes on log our extensions can be a little overzealous. The other thing that I like to often check is a base channel from the 0 to the 2 to the highs of the wave 1 and see how the wave 4 is reacting. Now, wave 4s like to stay out of the base channel and find support on top of them. That's why I had my previous counts like this. And this is still something that I want to be aware of. I don't own any Solana. This is just my opinion, right? I've already sold out. I'm not going to buy back to go for this. I'm not trying to play white wave 5s at this point in the cycle. What I'm looking at for in this point of the cycle is what coin is going to provide me this. That's the displacement that we're looking for so that we can make more money, okay? All right, so we covered that. So that's the scenario if we're going to get another 5 to the upside. The issue here comes for Solana because nothing on the daily gives us the most high probability count outside of having to say this is wave 1 into a wave 2 and wave 1 into a wave 2 and wave 1 into a wave 2. Do you see how that 1-2 stacking gets a little redundant and kind of a pain in the ass? Now, I'll believe it if this really starts to kind of crank to the upside and give displacement, meaning that we're looking for strong reactions to the upside that leaves this price action behind with large displacing candles with big bodies, right? So we're looking for something like that to come in here at some point. And until it does, I'm just going to stay biased on my previous count. What gives me hesitation on Solana, let's delete everything, is that this move so far up the stairs, if it's not 1-2 stacking, is starting to look somewhat corrective, right? You have somewhat of a 3-wave motion up. It runs into the 1 line. Not the best look. The other thing that you have that's going on is what? You have a regular bear divergence on the RSI, meaning from these closures, the flat spots of the candles, to these closures, the flat tops of the candles. You have higher closures on the price action, lower closures on the RSI, and you have drying up volume. When you see these type of things, it can be a momentum divergence. Now, if you were someone that wanted to short Solana, I would be very careful as this could get quite painful for you and could go on for a long time because your invalidation for that short is not for a very long time, right? So this invalidation could happen up here after 1.382. It could even get a little bit extra goose to it and go to the 1.618. But essentially, you can't invalidate. This is an expansion of a pattern until $600. So it's definitely not something I would short. Now, if I was wanting to short Solana based off of this being the highs, then what I'm having to do is say, okay, well, I need to go to the hourly. I need to see what from the top down. I need to see some sort of 5-wave motion, right? I need to see 2 styles of a correction. One would be the first 5 waves in a correction in a clean ABC. The other style that we could see would be a diagonal, right? So we would see something that was like this. And then finally get the reaction back up, right? So this is where we're looking for the short, right? We're looking for the short here or here because it gives us a known invalidation point instead of something where we're hunting and it could just keep expanding and expanding and just fucking liquidating you and just fucking you, right? We're not here for that, guys. We're here to make sound investments. So those are my opinions over Solana. Hit me up if you have any questions. Is my Roar people still in the house? All right. If you are here, we're getting ready to cover Roar and GME. If you guys could smash up that like button for me. Franco, Fury, Yazin, everybody, hit it up. Let me know that you're still in his house, and let's move into Roar. I'm going to have to switch over to a deck screener for us to cover this. Sometimes when I switch over from the regular charts to the deck screener, I'll often lose you guys. So please let me know if you guys are still here and can still see everything okay. Dude, it's the biggest crowd I've ever had watching me chart. 32 people. Thank you guys. I truly am humbled by this and feel so blessed. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you. And thank you for all the likes and all this. It means a lot. It really, really does. All right, keep it together. Don't get emotional on the stream. All right, so the thing that we're looking for here on Roar, and my only holdback, and this is what we've talked about time and time again, right? I think as I've spoke with the Roar community, is a couple things, right? Higher closures on price action, lower closures on the RSI, lower volume. When I see these things, it makes me say that was a 5-wave motion. Now, what's good about that is that this leg, my dudes, for all you in the Roar community, this leg at some point is going to likely get a partner leg, right? And I'm confident in that because after those 5 waves were made, Roar makes a 3-wave motion, right? So that's good. Anytime you can get 3 waves off the high, it means at some point we're going to take this high, okay? Now, this is where we get into more of kind of probability-based stuff, and I want you to understand that I cannot even fathom what a community can do, right? I can't say for sure you guys can invalidate probability, but I can say that with these being CTO coins, there's always those unknown elements that are out of the chart's control. So for me, I want to be very open to this and FARTBOY both being able to invalidate Elliott wave scenarios, invalidate fibs, and move on to higher prices and be more bullish than we expect, okay? All right, so let's keep talking. So this 3-wave low is in after the 382 in time, taken from the low to the high. What that means is that this 3-wave motion could make a valid low because it was after the 382 in time, right? But so far, let's delete everything and just talk. So far, if we talk about price action retracement from low or from high to low, let's make this a little bit bigger. You can see that we're already above the 786 retracement, right? And we take that from the high to the low to watch for resistances moving upwards. The most common area to see this go to after that 786 is passed is the 1.236 through the 1.382, okay? Meaning that Roar very well has the potential to move up to this zone, right? So that means we're looking for Roar to make a strong move to 0.2526 to 0.3466. So that means you guys still have a potential gain of around 130% to 200% on the table. Now, in the bearish scenario that is still bullish for Roar, I really have to say that because it really is, Just because I show you the local scenario being bearish doesn't mean the whole thing is. This could be 3 waves down in A and 3 waves up in B in an expansion, and then you could go for C. That C wave most commonly will sweep the lows of A and make an expanded flat as the most common pattern. Now, these can sometimes also hold the lows and not take the low of A. It's very rare, but it can happen, right? So it's something we want to be open to. Now, when I'm looking at this from the low here to see how the move up the stairs is made for Roar, my eyes instantly see this 3-wave motion, right? And it says, okay, we've got to start trying to chart this to the upside. How am I going to do it? I'm going to use my extensions. And I want to see how is this individual motion to the upside. What is it doing? Like how is it stacking up? Is it dancing with these fibs very well at all? I would say yes, right? So we have our gateway drug here that we always watch. We're past the 0.618. We're at the most common area of interest of 1 through 1.382, right? Again, like I said, I cannot even anticipate, my dudes, what a CTO is capable of, right? A CTO is capable of breaking this, right? So I do want you to know if at any point during this move up Roar community, if you see it just break out and it smashes out 0.5779, I want you to understand how critical it is that that is the invalidation point for the bearish scenario, and that this could absolutely get cranking towards the upside. Okay? So these are your next resistances I want you to watch out for, is the 1 through 1.382. That comes in around from 0.1123 as the next resistance. We're already at it. We want to break that and get up here to the 1.236 around 0.1528 at the 105 expansion retracement resistance confluence. That also falls with the 1.382 at 0.1848. If Roar can break this and start to move toward the upside and even get to what would be our main target, main area of interest that we have talked in this stream, it's a confluence of extensions and retracement expansion resistance. Boom, right? It's either going to be a B wave or we're in for something way more bullish that I'm not seeing yet, right? And that way more bullish scenario will kick off if we get to 0.05779, right? So again, let's go to the weekly, and I want you to understand, I also think it might be best to do this on linear so that you don't get such lavish targets. If we were to say that Roar is going to invalidate my scenario, right? And Roar is just going to fucking go, okay? Because that's always possible. Then we were talking about this first leg, getting a partner leg to the upside. That's something where you see Roar charge up to 0.01688 to 0.02266 on linear. We can talk about higher targets when we get there and what would happen in those instances. But if this were to get full on impulsive and start to smash out our local targets, we'll talk about the much higher targets when we get there. But that would mean minimum you would be looking for 0.02624 and then a successive move after that to 0.03560. So there would still be a lot of room for the upside in these scenarios. But like I said, and is in the recording, you're going to want to see us invalidate the lower time frames first so that we can move into those bigger ones, okay? Do you guys have any questions over Roar? Let me go check the chat and see what you guys think. Andy Lawson. I got FARTBOY written down, my dude. We'll hammer that out next. Or well, after the next couple. FARTBOY's in 3 charts, just so you guys all know. Just only 3 charts away and we're going to get to FARTBOY, okay? Our next chart is going to be GME, if none of my Roar people have any questions. All right. I hope this is helpful, guys. I hope you're enjoying the stream. Roar, for me, could get very bullish. So we just have to be focused on that potential also. All right, so let's go look at GME. I've had GME consolidating in a triangle meaning that this has potentially been nothing but an accumulation area for you. I've been showing the people in the Discord this. I also showed this on Twitter a while back. Let's go to a longer time frame here. You can see GME starting to consolidate here within this triangle. Until we can break this resistance that goes out here into space, we can't say that we're getting that breakout yet. So what we're looking for is GME to move up out of this zone, maybe hit resistance around 38, back test it, and then we could go for that 67% target, okay? And that target is just technically, depends on who you ask. It's kind of a sliding scale, right? If you want to measure it from the entry of the target, it makes it a slight bit bigger, gets you around 80%. But I do think overall that you're looking to see, can it leave this deceleration channel that it's stuck in, okay? You have decent reactions at the center line after 3 points of contact. I would like to see if GME can run up here and challenge those highs around 50 bucks. If not, break out of that deceleration channel and go for more. The earnings date on this is quite far away still. That's December 3rd. So we'll see what happens with that. That's GME. Usually whatever GME is doing is you know what Roar is doing. So if GME is charging to the upside, you might see Roar charge to the upside. The only issue here that we're running into is that you can't really pick out any sort of impulse in this yet, right? Everything's 3 waves up and 3 waves down and 3 waves up and 3 waves down, right? So until we stop the 3-wave bullshit and get going, there's not a whole lot we can do there, okay? Yeah, dude, Roar is looking fucking good. I hope you guys appreciate it. Millsy, JDM, Andy, everybody else that came today in the Roar community. I truly appreciate you guys, dude. 31 likes. Oh, my cheeks feel like they're going to break. All right, let's keep going. You guys got me smiling today. I don't often get this big of a crowd. I feel quite happy to have you guys here. Thank you. I was having a rough day before this. This has helped pull me out of my funk, I think. All right, so on AIOZ, the correction that we were watching comes from a macro. So I'm going to be on linear while we talk about this. So if this was 5 waves toward the upside, which on linear it looks absolutely atrocious, right? But on logarithmic, the math makes sense, and I can go show you that also really quickly. This is wave 1 into wave 2, wave 3, 4, and 5. After which we get a correction towards the downside. I believe that might be an expanded B due to the hidden or to the regular bear divergence on these highs, meaning higher price action closures, but lower closures on the RSI, resulting in a bearish divergence on the RSI. Sorry, I was trying to read the chat. And also the other thing that we note here is a divergence coming in on our volume between our wave 3 and our wave 5, meaning the largest volume came in within the wave 3. That's good to see. So for now, I'm going to side with this as my main bullish bias. And if I was looking for targets from the upside from here, meaning that this is the low, this is invalidation for AIOZ at 1834. I know that's about a 50% reduction in price from here. I'm aware of that, but not always are you going to have the best entries if you're not already in it. All right, so then let's go ahead and talk about linear-wise, what could be targets for AIOZ. If this were to move towards the upside, let's move this over here. You could be looking for a C wave that would take the highs of A, moving to a potential $1.24 to $1.65. Sometimes these C waves can get incredible good push behind them if the community is there, if the people are there, and that could move it up to challenge the $1.90 range, if not tickle the tip at $2. But you know, we'll figure that out. So on AIOZ, you know, your lower time frame daily scenarios really need to start to pan out to the upside, meaning this needs to be a 5-wave motion in A and a B, and you need to get going. But what we're running into here is the potential that this is a W, X, and a Y, and we hold shallow here, and start to build an impulse, right? So we talked about this in the community recently. Let me delete everything, because that changes your invalidation and changes how you should be handling things, right? If this is going to be the Y, we need to start seeing this make some more moves towards the upside, right? And the main reason we go with the WXY is because of how horrendous this three-wave motion to start was, then 3 waves up, and then 3 waves down. What I don't like about this is that your first motion in W was a flat, right? You have a very high retracement. Your second move in your Y was also a flat, which means we're not getting any sort of alternation in structures between the W and Y, which would be rare. Now, because of how high the potential X wave retraces here, meaning that it made it at least to the 0.702 retracement from 0 to W, that means that you could potentially allow this to be acceptable per Elliott wave. The other thing that you could be looking for is maybe a triangle that ends in A. I would say I'm not going to go beat my head against the wall and try to figure this one out right now. But, you know, you would be looking for something that's consolidating and moving down in that triangle before it goes up. Right? So this could potentially get another leg to the downside because its motion towards the upside isn't the most bullish thing that we've seen yet, right? So by that, when we go to the 4 hour, you can see this looks pretty much like a three-wave motion that ends on high volume, right? Meaning that a lot of times when we see that, that is just an A, B, and a C wave. Okay? So that is AIOZ. All right, let's move on into FARTBOY. Are you guys ready for the FARTBOY or no? Addy asked for PLTR. Yeah, dude, did you see that I shared that the other day in the chat room? I was trying to see what 34 EMA's opinion on it was, because it was like semi looking good for a long, but I don't know how it's looking now. I haven't looked in quite some time. All right, so is my FARTBOY people still in the house? All right. Hopefully some of you are still here. You guys, FARTBOY's been doing amazing things lately, making great leaps to the upside. Let's start at our daily and start talking about what we have going on here for FARTBOY, okay? We've talked about this scenario numerous times, so this shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody out there. I'm going to delete everything so that you can just learn as we go and understand where I am coming from on my accounts for FARTBOY. So it looks like I still got one FARTBOYer in the house. What's up, Ed? All right. So if we're looking at this making a motion towards the upside, my eyes and your eyes should see immediately that the move off the low was made in a three-wave motion, right? That's very critical towards the next steps in Elliott wave. So if this is an ABC towards the upside, we have to label this as an A or a W, right? Because it's a three-wave motion. It's not a valid impulse. Okay, guys? We'll talk about that in a minute. And then we'll talk about the scenario that it might be up against right now, which is a W in 3, an X in 3, and then a Y leg in 3. And we could invalidate that really soon. Like I said, CTO projects they're really hard to get your finger on, right? I chart FARTBOY for this community very, very fiercely. I've nailed numerous supports and resistances for you guys. I absolutely love charting this project and have a great time with it. The most common area of interest for a Y leg to find resistance is the 1 through 1.236. That's where we're at, gang, right? And this could be your potential three-wave motion. Now, that's only one of the scenarios. Now, if FARTBOY is to break that said 1.236 at 0.05727, we will start to lean more towards, okay, even this, even say FARTBOY gives you a range here, right? And then another high. I would still side with this is a C wave, right? Now that C wave could come in around 0.06573 to 0.08212 or even wick above it. I'm open to that. Again, because FARTBOY is a CTO coin, because FARTBOY is a super strong community. If it comes up and tickles the tip at that 10 cents line, happy fucking days, my dudes. Keep in mind that you started this motion with a 3-wave motion, right? You did not start with a clean impulse. The other thing to keep in mind is that a WXY typically likes to stay inside of a base channel. So we measure from 0 to W to X, or excuse me, from 0 to X to W in the uptrend. You can see that our Y leg left a base channel, which is rare and possibly more common for an ABC, right? Sometimes in an ABC to the upside, you'll see an extended C leg, and that's how we get these scenarios. So if this is wave 1 into wave 2, I do want you to understand that the C leg could get extended and tickle the tip and break 10 cents and go higher, right? So if this is potentially wave 1 of C, which is right now what I'm trying to have as my primary account, wave 2 of C, you're not even seeing wave 3 of C until we get to 8 cents. Then wave 4 of C, and then a blow off top for an extended C could happen to 10 cents. It's something I really, really want to be open to. The angle of the dangle on this old boy right here is telling you that it's leaving a base channel. It's still bullish, right? The other thing is what? This is something you should be paying attention to. Overall, that volume is really coming up, right? So who am I to doubt it? I do want you to know that I am biased on this. I do own FARTBOY here. So I am biased on this project towards the upside and have not sold out yet. We are up quite a bit off of that last entry per average. You're around 100% up. So I'm really watching it strongly to see here what these next steps are, right? But for now, that ABC toward the upside is my primary. And we will talk about if and when that becomes invalidated and what I would do then, right? Okay. We will cover more after that in a moment. All right. The next thing that we have, dude, we nailed the FARTBOY entry, Dr. T. We nailed it. Just so everybody has a quick synopsis here on FARTBOY of the plays that we've taken so far. So this was our first area of interest where we were buying FARTBOY. And then we watched it go up the stairs, make a wave 3, then it fell back in a wave 4. We had sold the tops of the 3, bought back in the 4, sold the highs of the 1. Just like we told you on Twitter, we were looking for that 34 range. That's where I sold. After which you get an expanded correction here that comes down in an ABC. We bought back again in those lows. I shared that with you on Twitter and in my Discord. I told everybody what I was doing. I'm very transparent. And then you moved up with a corrective motion into a 1 and 2. Now with all this chop here on the micro, we'll see what happens. But for now, you know all the roadblocks. You know all the things you're looking for resistance-wise. You guys should be completely dialed in on FARTBOY and know how to handle all your next steps, dude. Let me check. Nice, Amazon. Let me look real quick. You're saying that we have on the 4-hour. All right. So see how my candles are really spread out and hard to see, Amazon. So when I like to talk about divergences, I want to be able to see all my candles easy. So I'm going to bump this up to the 8-hour. And because this makes a higher RSI, sir, I'm not going to be able to say that we have a regular bear div. Yes, I know that we can see it on the 4-hour, but technically because of the candles being not clear, I'm not going to go with a regular bear div there. I'm going to just say that that was already negated and I need to zoom out to a larger time frame, okay? All right, let's go look at SHX if I can find this. I've never heard of this one before. All right. let's go look at SHX really quickly. Stronghold, I'm guessing, is what it's called. If you are still here, sir, please let me know if this is the chart that you are after. Mother of fudge, this is ugly. All right, let's look for another one of these. Do let me know if there's a better chart than this, because I don't think you're gonna get anything high efficacy out of this. The UK. What's up, Ted? All right, so with this chart, Ted, on SHX, I wouldn't be able to give you anything high probability out of this. You can see that it's really just chopping about. Nothing about it is giving a high probability play. Even from down here on the lows, it never got impulsive, and it's still just tangled up at the 1 through 1.382. So because of this, I'm just going to have to side with the bear divergences coming in, meaning lower closures on the RSI, but higher closures on price action from this point to this point. I'm going to say that those bear divs might start to come in for this. You have absolutely no volume whatsoever. This is pathetic. If I owned it, I'd probably have to start getting paid, unfortunately. So be careful on stuff like this, man. This is not a high probability setup, so I would just have to move on from that one. Damn, two of y'all, Addy and Millsy's in the UK. How many other UKers do I have here? When I come back, I don't know if any of you have interest, but I'm coming back possibly to England this spring, and I would love to get together with you guys and have some meals, some coffees, look around the city, eat some baked goods, bullshit with each other in person. So you guys let me know about that. Where else are you guys from out there? What countries? What else we got in here besides the UK today? All right, so let's go look at XRP. I'm biased towards the bullish scenarios here. I've already shared my macro with you numerous times. So for now, let's go talk about my micro counts. I shared this in the Discord, and this was my last area that I was accumulating XRP, was in the E wave lows for the potential wave 4 in a triangle. So we were buying up this dip. So far, from the average entry, we're up around 10%, so not a lot. I am counting this as a potential move towards the upside in an impulse, because if I measure from low to high to low, you can see easily that I break the 1.618 and then move up impulsively. Because of that, I'm going to side with that being a wave 3, and this is a wave 4. Until this loses the wave 4 lows, I'm staying biased that XRP is going to come up and test about $3.27. I know, dude. I'm going to go visit Canada soon. So let's ride this as invalidation here for XRP. The other thing that you should notice is I posted all this in the Discord for my members this morning. So you guys could kind of maybe use this as a pivot to make some entries or potentially make a move with invalidation. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, just sharing my opinions. But for now, I am biased towards that bullish scenario. Now, once we make that final fifth wave, if it happens, you're going to be looking for a 3-wave motion that potentially comes down like that and investigates the prior degree wave 4, but cannot lose the lows or invalidation point at 270, or we lose our bullish scenario, right? So XRP is setting up for a really big run. And on the macro, like we've talked about before, gang, this is why we're looking for XRP to move to $3.79, if not $4.08. And like we have talked about numerous other streams, wave 5s can get extended, which would be $4.46, $4.88, or $5.13. If at any point in time XRP breaks the 555, $5.55. What a beautiful number, $5.55, 55555. We will look for an absolute explosive move towards the upside. But for now, let's stay biased on our short time frame, looking for 5 waves in 1, a pullback in 2, move up in 3, pull back in 4, and the last move in the 5 of 5. Let's see if that gets to around 420. I think that would be a really good number for XRP to end this run on. I would really start having to DCA out hard of XRP at that point in time. Dude, every meetup, I'm just going to keep chatting here. I'm sorry, guys. I get caught up chatting all the time. Every meetup we've ever had has been fucking phenomenal. What the hell? Oh, you're from India. Let's make sure we get INJ for you, my dude. All right, so that's XRP, guys. Let's move on to CTSI. I typed it in the wrong thing. All right, and if you guys need anything else, let me know. Get those chart requests in. You're fucking funny, Addy. All right. So, anyone who knows me, I think already knows what I'm going to say. This is not a bullish chart. It's a bullshit chart, but it's not a bullish chart. You would not get me to buy this if you gave me the money to buy it. Nothing about it so far has given any sort of reversal. Yes, you do have what would be a regular bull. No, you don't even have regular bull div on your RSI. You have fucking nothing. So, in my opinion, CTSI is not a coin I would want to be part of. What I would be looking for, dude, is a real valid impulse, right? So really something that impulses towards the upside and starts to give probability. We can't call this a wave 3 because it doesn't hit 1.618. So I think this itself is just a 3-wave motion towards the upside, right? So I think this is a 3-wave motion, maybe a WXY. Maybe that's within an A. This could very well just be an ABC. That's what I'm going to label it as. A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and C in an ending diagonal. I would look for this to make some moves towards the downside. As you can see, the sell-offs occurred at the highs on high volume. That was the people in the know selling out to the assholes buying in late, okay? I got INJ for you, what the hell guy, or what the H. You were from India. I wrote that down for you, sir. We will get to that very soon. All right. Is there any MetaFox people in the house? I'm across the channel from UK and Belgium, though the USA originally. That's fucking sick, TM. What brought you from the USA to Belgium? That's quite a journey, my dude. All right, so let's go look at our next chart. That's going to be METAFOX. Some of these charts are fucking ugly, that's for sure. Not all of them get to be pretty, right? Not everything you find is going to be a gem, and that's okay. METAFOX here is getting very, very close to invalidation for the bulls. Let's go to log because it charts best on that. Outside of the depth that this has came to, the second problem, let me just delete everything so you can see. The second problem is going to be how long this is lingering. So let's take a peek here to see if we can make this just still corrective possibly. Man, I still like this as a 5-wave motion towards the upside. So in my opinion, I'm going to just keep sticking by what I have even though I don't like it. And that is going to be that. This is the current invalidation point around 9177. So for me, you're still waiting for this to give you a partner leg, right? So at some point we're waiting for this. So I wouldn't sell out. I wouldn't run for the hills like a punk. The problem with charts like this is that we can't really make a lot out of this previous data, right? Like we can't pick out a really good 5-wave motion within there. We could say that this is A, or the start of something maybe, and that this is B, and now you're going to maybe start up in a C. But the problem is that so far it just continues to fail, right? So this one isn't quite giving a bullish reversal. What I would really like to see happen on METAFOX is that you get a true reversal off the lows, right? So right now that, what's this? This has got to be the real low now. 1487 and, all right, so this is the actual low. So if you're someone wanting to be believing this project, you need this to be 1 into 2 and 1 into 2, and you're going to need to see 3, 4 and 3, 4 and a final fifth, and then a 3-wave pullback that holds this region, I'm guessing around a 618, and never touches those lows again, and then gives that wave 3 out of the lows. Does that make sense? Crypto Viking, what is up, Crypto Viking? We looked at Roar earlier in the stream, my dude. Covered it very, very in depth with numerous scenarios, and that will all be timestamped for you after the stream along with all of these. TM asked if I'd mind taking a look at PYTH. Let's get that down also. I apologize for not seeing it. Let me get a drink here. I'm getting dry mouth. I'm guessing when you say hype, my friend, you're meaning hyper liquid. Correct me if I'm wrong. All right, so I did do that. So far, hyper liquid has moved up these stairs, and it's continued to create what? Regular bear divergence on the RSI. Volume has dropped off significantly. Yes, you have a little blurb of it here. This would not be something that I'm trying to get involved with because, again, it's not a high probability setup. It's not telling me to do X, Y, and Z, right? After it hit my target box of the 1 through 1.382, I haven't had a great interest to come back to it. I feel like you're chasing the highs here of what could end up being a very risky amount of downside, right? So what I would do is move this up again, like we talked about, and until it finds a top, I would keep moving it up with the bias that at some point it's going to start investigating these wave golden pocket support areas, which would be no good. But I would say overall, this is not a chart that I'm trying to track Elliott wave stuff on. I'm just using simple retracements, and for now, I would not buy it. Right? Even if you gave me money and said, yo, man, here's $100, go buy Hyperliquid, I would tell you, no thanks. I would rather not even have to waste my time charting shit like this, right? Because it just doesn't look super hot anymore, especially with the divergences. All right, let's see what we got next. Damn, Millsy is still in the house and Crypto Viking. Man, you guys are just holding out today. All right, who was my link dude? Excuse me. Man, I cannot. Yes. Yassine, are you still here, Ben? Yassine, Ben? Excuse me. I sent this out to my community this morning. We have a clean 5 waves to the upside, and I'm looking for a leading diagonal in an A, move up in a B for a local retracement. I'm looking to really see this retest these zones, okay? We can add some extensions to this. I know this is the micro, so you might not be too enthused to watch this portion, and I'll zoom out to the macro here in a second. But I'm looking for a nice move down to get into maybe $19, if not down to $18.40. That would be kind of my area of interest where I would be looking to dollar cost average into some more chain link. But for now, I'm going to hold on to the spot bags that I have on chain link because I am looking for more upside. that comes on our linear outlook that we have here for the bullish scenario. And like we've talked about before, in the golden count, wave 3, 4, and 5 would get quite extended due to the wave 1 into the 2, wave 1 into the 2, and then again you have 1, 2, 1, 2 stacking coming in. I think at some point all of these 1, 2s consolidating is what's going to take lingering link into fucking like laser jet link, and it's going up and we're tapping that $100 range possibly, right? But for right now, I want to stay biased towards the bull scenario and say that we get an extended wave 3, gets chain link up around $57, $60. We get a nice little pullback, and then we get a successive wave 5 to give chain link something around $80. Now, if at any point chain link gets FOMO, you could see it getting up here past $100. But for right now, to keep myself realistic, I'm going to just go with an $80 chain link as my cycle goal. But I do have it on the table that we could actually roll the triple figures. Okay, so I do think, yeah, I'd buy the shit at $19 out of your funny as shit. Oh man, you crack me up. The funny thing here is that nobody will really want to talk about Chainlink until it's so pumped, right? Once it's pumped as shit, then everybody will want to be part of it again. So do keep that in mind as a spot holder. You're going through the hardest times. You're sitting through the worst of it. And at some point it will be over. So Chainlink does have a bullish macro outlook. I would say wave 3 to around $60, wave 5 to around $80 plus. And we'll continue to keep that updated. In the Discord, I'll keep all the micro time frames updated, all the invalidation, validation points as we move upwards. And then on Mondays, we'll cover the macro like this. All right, let me know if you have any questions over Chainlink, my dude. And let's move into the next portion of our show. PLTR. Fucking planter. In my opinion, this looks set to make more moves, right? You can see very easily. Let me get us here. Make sure I get the actual lows here. This has done everything to be bullish. It's beautiful. Let's go back to log and then check it out some more because I want to look at my basic retracements here just for a second. Earnings is coming up. That's nice. Earnings for Planter comes on November 10th. So that'll be good. You'll get a lot more at that point in time. All right. So we're well above what would be our retracements, like where we're like, oh, fuck, I'm concerned, right? So you're above 1.618. You know this is valid. So you should be expecting more. All right. Let's get a couple extra tools on this really quickly. The stock market is not something I get to look at often. All right. So what if let's look at volume here. Amazed that's it. Let's see what we got going on here. This is gonna be difficult. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't think that's 3, 4 again. Let's move this here. This looks pretty good here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think this might be the top of your would-be wave 3. Sorry guys, we gotta do all this on the fly here. So this will be the basic base here. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't mind that way. Sorry, I know this is quite boring to walk, to sit through this part here. I think I'm gonna go with that instead. And this is a fresh move. Maybe wave 1 of the wave 3. Zero to 3 to 4. This can be the boringest part of the stream ever. I think that if I had to toss a dart at this, it is still pretty bullish. I would say this is 1. I'm going to go with 3, 4, 3, 4, 5. I say your 2 could be here, but it could potentially be here also. Just the only problem you're going to run into here is the minimum time of every correction was never met. Like we're good here for the 2. All right, I'm going to move on. I'll update this one in the community. You brought kind of a fucking dog ass chart. I think that overall it's still bullish. I think that it hasn't topped in the wave 3 yet is my largest thing, and my bias would be towards that for now. If I had to just take a guess at it though, I'm going to say this is wave 1 into wave 2. Whether that 2 ends there or there, I don't truly know yet. I think that the wave 3 has not topped yet. I think that'll come in around 240. I think then you'll get your wave 4 finally, and that will be kind of like the next buying opportunity for planter, or where you would look for longs, right? So you would be looking for 0.236 through 0.5 and not to lose this possible prior degree wave 4, right? So as long as you're holding possible prior degree wave 4, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of 3 when it ends, then I think that you'll be okay, right? So I think this would be your buying opportunity to go for what then would be the wave 5, right? And we can pinpoint that better later when we go from 0 to possible 3 to wherever 4 stops we don't know, and we look for a 0.618. So 5 could get quite stoked. We'll have to wait and see how that goes. And maybe, like always, linear could be your pal on this, okay? So that's something to keep in mind. Let me know if you have any other questions over it, dude, and I'll look at it more. But yeah, that's kind of a fucking laggard there. It's already kind of done the majority of what it's done, right? Like, I would say Planter's done the majority of its gains as it is coming up to what could be the top of its wave 3. So I would look for its larger wave 4, and that could be our entries, but we'll cut to that later. Let's go look at INJ. My keyboard got lost there. Tried to type to you guys, but I was typing in the chat instead of here. All right. Here we got another chart that's going to make it not super fun. So you can kind of see that this looks like a 3-wave motion and a 3-wave motion, right? Nothing about this has confirmed a bullish trend yet, but we'll zoom in and take a peek at that. So far that's not super bullish. Let's see if we can get a longer chart, maybe a little better perspective here. That's a little better. All right. So this, as far as I can see, is the most price data that we have. Not even to the 786 yet. Ooh, she got jiggy with it if you check it on linear. That would be my main concern. Would be that this was a potential ABC towards the upside. And that's how I'd want to chart it, because when I look here, I can see a potential 5-wave motion up and a 3-wave motion back and a potential 5-wave motion up, right? So if that's an ABC to a 1.618, it's not an impulse, that's for damn sure. See where the low is here. This low was 122. This low is 113. So this is the lowest low. So for now, that's what I'd have to go with, is an ABC towards the upside. If that was a correction towards the upside, its partner leg needs to happen by the 0.382. So with this low coming in before the 382, I would say this probably isn't the low. So yes, we could see this kind of chain something together. We don't know how high into the zone that would go. But the overall bias would be to take this low at some point. Now let's go into a little bit lower time frame. Let's see what we have going on here. So this, I think, would be the main issue. If this is 1 into 2, let's see if it meets math of at least getting up to 1.618 by this next high. So this move is a 3-wave motion, right? Because it didn't get impulsive, it stops at 1.382. And then you get a successive move after. I would be very open to this being 3, 3, and possibly 5. Maybe 5 ends here in an ending diagonal. But that means this was not an impulse toward the upside, right? It was not a valid reversal point yet. What's up, dude? Thank you, man. Thank you. Man, threw me off. Best news of the day. So for me, what I would be looking for is a bearish scenario that has easy invalidation for now. I would turn that on and put it on these highs. And I would start looking into this micro, right? So if we put this here and we go into the lower time frames, how could I be making a move to the downside? This reminds me much of the move that we looked at on Chainlink, right? Where everything is kind of coming to the downside here, overlap, last leg, maybe an ending diagonal here would be my first thought or major concern, or leading diagonal, excuse me, right? So if that's so, this would only be a 3-wave motion toward the upside and current invalidation for it to potentially give displacement and take out all this external liquidity in those equal lows, right? And again, what would it move into? It would sweep external liquidity, external liquidity, external liquidity, and it would move into the internal liquidity. So I'd say I'm biased towards that. And then again, what do you have? Bucket load of external liquidity, more external liquidity, more external liquidity, right? Finally, some more internal liquidity in this zone here, right? This isn't a strong chart or project or something that I would really be pursuing, right? It doesn't deliver that high probability scenario for me. So I would move on from that one for now. I want to show you what I mean by a high probability setup really quickly, if you have the time. Let's go into the 4-hour. This was not on, that's on long now. All right. So on this cookie chart, when we look at this, this is what I refer to as a high probability setup, or something that appears to have the look in Elliott wave. If we go from 0 to 1 to 2, our wave 3 pushes up past the 1.618. 1.618. So it gets impulsive, right? And then you get a successive move that makes another high and comes to around the 786. At that time, let's put some labels on here so you can see it. This is when it starts to become a high probability setup, right? So this is likely a 4 altogether, and this is 5 waves to end it. So the 4 ended over here, but its lowest low is here, so I use that for my math, okay? All right, let's look at the RSI and volume. You can see this one had a lot of volume in the wave 3 of the wave 5. And then what do we see? We see a divergence between the wave 3 and the wave 5 of the wave 5. And then, which is uncommon, we have the highest oscillation on our indicator on our wave 5 along with high volume. Because it passed the 0.618 and hits the 0.786, it makes it probable that it was an extended 5th wave. That's why we saw the high volume. That's why we saw the high oscillations. All these things were to bring the buyer conviction so that we could sell off to them, right? The people in the know have to make money. The house always wins. So in my opinion, that was a 5-wave motion towards the upside. So what were we looking for? A 3-wave pullback into a golden pocket retracement from low to high to look for a high probability setup. Boom, to the golden pocket. Now let's zoom into this individual leg to the upside to see what could be going on here. Now, since the strongest look of a coin that you could see here because of this internal first leg to the upside, but as you can see, it passes the 1.618 again. It passes the 2.236 and hits the 2.618. So I'm also trying to be open to the fact that this was a 5-wave motion to the upside that is trying to retrace to the golden pocket around 618 to 702. And I would also add my extensions to this to try to see, can I get more of a pinpoint area here? Maybe we're getting like a double zigzag to the downside. And we look for this to make a pullback to around 0.123 to 0.120, if not a wick down to 0.118. But I do think that overall Cookie could be making some reasonable high probability setups toward the upside. What's up, Jacob? How are you doing, my dude? How are you doing? Yeah, man, we're packing this stream full of education. We've been rolling for almost 2 hours now, so we're almost done. So on Cookie, when you're looking for those high probability setups that go to the upside, now you're asking yourself, well, mathematically, what am I looking for? So if we measure from the low to the high with trend time, we can see that we're past the 2 times in length, meaning this is likely a B wave if we're lucky. Right? So we're just looking for a C leg to the upside, which means you're looking for a 1 through 1.382 extension. That takes Cookie up to 57 cents to 84 cents. I chuckle because it seems fucking unrealistic. You know what I mean? But so what I would do for myself is go to linear, make my target slightly more realistic, and I would say that I'm looking for a C leg to the upside on Cookie to around 0.40 to around 0.52. Absolutely still an amazing run that you could have to the upside out of that 12 cent area that we talked about. That's around 230 to 330% for Cookie, right? So this is an absolute gem of a coin with a possible high probability setup that we should be watching for that's coming into an area of interest now, okay? And off of those lows, what did you have? A regular bull divergence. Lower closures on price action, but not on RSI. So you had reasons to reverse at an area of interest. You had divergence. You had everything. All right, let's go look at PYTH. Let me know if you guys have any more questions while we're going or any other altcoins that you want me to cover. And do we have anybody else new in the stream that hasn't said hello yet? If so, man, pop off, say hello. We still got quite a bit of people in the house right now. We still got 11 of you. Seemed like the majority of the people were from the UK. If you're not from the UK or Belgium, like we've already heard from somebody, say what's up, man. All right, so PYTH to me looks like a sell-off move. Yep, and that's what I'm going to go with. Let's delete everything. So for me, I have high volume. I have a 3-wave motion, and a 3-wave motion, and a 5-wave motion. It ends on high volume. This is likely an A, and a B, and a C. This is not the bullish start of something. And then what do you get? You get a harsh rejection, right? So this is likely the start of a move to the downside. Maybe you chain together more corrections. But my bias would be to take these lows in time. They did it to you here also. Bullshit ass 3-wave move. Ends on high volume. I guarantee every dumbass and their cousin was like, get the embers head and shoulders, Ricky. It's going to the fucking moon. So they put this on here and then they were like, oh my God, it's broken out. Buy more PYTH, it's going to the fucking moon, and then it never makes its target and fucks you. And then you complain because crypto's a scam and we're all getting scared, right? But instead you're not educating yourself so that you can do better in this space, right? What's up, Jody Aspen? How are you? Yeah, let me write that down. Virtual is the next one that I've got coming in. I'm just gonna go on a little bit of a rant here because I it's my style. And if people don't like it, go to a different stream. This shit right here is not investing. This is tossing darts at the wall because someone told you this is going to work out. And time again, you get sold off to. There's numerous of these charts that look like shit, right? But it's okay. People just keep fucking buying them because they have no understanding of what investing is at all. And they just see a shiny fucking thing like a fish chasing a lure. And again, all of these volume spikes are just you getting sold off into, right? Just you getting fucked, right? They're just screwing you. Look at the volume divergence here as it makes the higher highs even. I don't know what to tell people. I don't understand why you don't want to get educated. It seems like the best thing that you could do for yourself would be to fill your mind full of knowledge. If you're going to put your fucking money in a coin, you need to make sure you know what you're doing. That's my 2 cents. All right, let's go look at virtual. Virtual. That's a hard word. All right. I think I have it somewhere here. On the daily. Okay. Just making sure I'm tracking. All right, so I believe we've already talked about this. I thought I had this on a chart somewhere. Let me go look. I might have deleted it. We had reviewed this in our last stream, I thought. There we go. There she is, Rick. There she is. All right, so my bias on the daily is I'm still open for a potential low here, but we'll zoom in here on the 4-hour and talk about something here in a moment. I really want to be open to the potential that I'm wrong here and that this was not an ABC, right? Because this looks like one shitty ass C wave. So I would have to be more open to this being a potential W and an X and a Y, meaning the Y ends in a 3-wave motion instead of a 5-wave motion like a C. But essentially, I am looking for this to make a strong move to the upside at a certain point. The reason why is because on the daily, we have a previous move that hit around 500%. So I'm looking for something very similar to that to the upside. Now let's go to the 8-hour really quickly. If this is going to be a wave 1 on an 8-hour into a wave 2, we need wave 3 to hit a minimum 1.618. Boom. To the fucking money, big dog. Then we'll run this up, pull a 3 to 4. Pull up on that mother. Alright, so if that's good enough for government work, we also have a potential what here? We've talked about this numerous times in the stream. Regular bear divergence on the RSI. Decreasing volume as the next high is made. When that happens, You guys messing with me in the chat. When that happens, that's a momentum divergence, right? So we could also try to bullshit ourselves and say this is 1, 2, 1, 2, going into 3, 4, 3, 4s, and potentially goes for one more fifth also. So that's something I would be open to. But I don't know if I would consider it until I have hidden bull divergence with that possible too. So for now, I would say my local count on the 4 hour would possibly be the potential of a 3 here and a 4 and a 5. But I'm also open to one more high and a 5. So regardless, what we're looking for here is a 3-wave pullback, right? So if this is the first leg of that 3-wave pullback, that would be an A, a B. B's can even expand, we don't know, and then a final C. We'll play this as we go, but I would say that due to the daily and 4-hour counts, I do think that virtual is looking for some larger moves towards the upside. So, all right, guys. Well, that's basically everything I have for the stream. We had an amazing stream. We went for 2 hours. I'm absolutely blown away that we went so long. We got 38 likes today. It was a hell of a stream. As always, I'll keep all this stuff updated in the Discord. I will keep all the lower time frame stuff updated there. I will keep all the invalidation points updated there. And I'll see you guys every Monday here. Jody Aspen, I don't know if you're still here, said you've been in the market for 4 years now. Says you've been holding 85 different coins with really low averages across the board. Oh, now I see what they say is that happy building block. All right, let me go look at JASMY for you, my dude. Yeah, I'll look right now. Sorry that I forgot that. That's a fucking lot of coins. 85? Dude, I have a hard time remembering to remember to tie my shoes some days. You know? Let alone how to manage 85 coins. That is, you're next level. You're a ninja for being able to do that. Yeah, let me get you a link real quick. 5 years. Damn, dude. You're salty. You've been in the game forever. There's a link to our Discord. That'll get you in for a free week trial so you can check out everything. Let's finish up here on JASMY for you, and then we'll move forward. I think it's important to understand a weekly scenario before we can talk about anything else, yeah? So let's look at JASMY here on the weekly. This is a logarithmic chart. Let's delete everything just so we can talk. JASMY reminds me of Solana a little bit. The reason that I say that is because if this is potential 1, 2 stacking off the lows, then you're looking for 3, 4s going into the highs, right? So we pull this to the most low. Where are you at? Right there. Then we can see that we clearly break the 1.382. We get impulsive and potentially make 5 waves within a wave 3, right? So this would be really good. Let me check this low here. That low is 0.295, and the successive low is 296. So we're going to go, this is our lowest low. We're going to have to say this is wave 1 into wave 2. Potentially could be a wave 3, 4, and 5 of 3. Let's check the math on the inner leg to find out. From 0 to 1 to 2. So we have highest volume in the wave 3 of 3, a pullback in the wave 4 of 3, and a successive move in the wave 5 of 3. I like that. I'm going to keep it. We're going to make this one larger degree count here. Son of a bitch. That magnet pisses me off. All right, so 3 down. I would also be open to saying that's my low. Let's change this to a larger degree just in case. So that's the 5 waves up. You do have divergence on volume and RSI. Now the issue would be minimum time in correction from 0 to 5 says that this low is in before the 382 in time, meaning that it's likely not the low of a correction. Okay? Let me check something else here. Wave 2 took that long. This wave 4 was in before a 1-to-1 in time, so it could be very valid that that's not the wave 4. My eyes like to see it with a box. Sometimes it helps me. So let's do from high of 1 to the low of 2. Let's drive you up here and see if we get a similar correction. So it's a little shy of the 1-to-1. It's definitely not a rule break. Let me zoom in here on the daily and let's see, do we top in 5 waves? Do we top in 3 waves? What do we got here? My gigantic dog is pacing around the room. Sorry, I'm trying to get my dog to lay down. All right. So what I don't like about this is this move towards the upside in that it ends on high volume and looks very 3 waves. So a large part of me on JASMY is wanting to say that this is a corrective motion that ends on high volume. So let's zoom back out here for a second. So if that's so, let's check this. Sorry, I don't typically go through everything like this on stream. I just want you to know all the scenarios. That's a little off, but I understand. Let's check the other one. I want to be open to it making another high also, just in case. And we'll get into that over here. This is the only downside to the charts, man. So many probable scenarios that you could run into. Decent centerline reactions. For now, I think I'm going to make this my primary that the 5 is in. And that wave 4 could have ended here because of all the 3 waviness. And this is potentially just the 5 waves up. Let's go to a lower time frame here to see what you have to this upside. Because I don't think so far you've seen something super strong yet. We can try to say, I like this as a possible ending diagonal in a 3. And then we say this is 4. And that would be 5. Let's see if a 382 is on the banga. Yep, that's what I'm going with. One, two, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5. Largest oscillation, largest volume in the 3 of 3. Divergence from there to there. I like that. Let's go to an 8-hour. All right. This is where it's going to get muddy. So from 0 to potential 1 to 2, we can see that we don't really get impulsive here. So this is a 3-wave motion. So there is a potential here. If if that was only a 3-wave motion? What if we're getting really good reactions to our fib sets? That would be a deep cut. What if this is a W, X, and now you're making a Y? Y doesn't have to sweep the lows. It could stop early. I would have to say that my strongest bias is towards the downside on this. I would say that on JASMY I'm looking for 0.01150, if not a drop down to 0.982. This is a decent little cut for this project, but that would result in another 18 to 30% to the downside. Locally, it's really hard. You cannot say this is an impulse. It just doesn't work out for us. All right, what else do we got? Let me go back to the chats and see if anybody else has anything in. But that's what my deal is there, Joe. The thing is, it's like you're hoping this is a reversal, but you just don't know yet. And the problem is, if it reverses, right, you might only be getting a correction here where this is A and eventually B, and then finally you get C towards the upside. But it's going to kind of just be a retracement, like a sell the news kind of thing. Yeah, this wouldn't be one that I'm really looking hard to buy. I would rather buy when we get that nice cut right back down to kind of where you bought. So that's my bias on this for now, especially with the divergence and the volume divergence. Just doesn't look super hot right now. Yeah, dude, hit me up in the Discord. I'd love to. I'll go through all 85 of your coins. Ask any of my members. Even when I'm on holiday with my family, dude, I'm poolside, making sure we get our charts done, making sure everybody's in the know. I'm always answering questions. I'm not a trade signals group. I don't give trade calls. What I do is I supply enough education and know-how that you can handle this kind of shit on your own and can start to manage your own portfolio, okay? Because really that's the goal. The goal in the end is that you're managing your portfolio, that you're out making those moves on your own so that no one's telling you, hey man, pull the trigger here, buy here, sell there, do that, do this. Instead, you're telling yourself, you know what, I'm a big dog. I want to make my big boy choices and be responsible for them, right? So you're then telling yourself, great, if I lose this line in the sand, I do this. If I make it to this point, I look to de-risk, right? So it's going to be tons of breadcrumbs all the time in the Discord community, helping you kind of overall make your better choices, right? Or help with those investments, right? You know, so it's nothing in this is a for sure. That's one thing I think everybody learns that's been in this for years. Oh yeah, dude, no feelings attached. No project deserves your feelings, Joe. I think that's very valid. I don't think any project cares about you, right? Like XRP's never going to send you a memo and be like, dude, we're really sorry that the market's crashed. We're really sorry that you lost half of your investments. Oh God, you know what we're going to do here at XRP and Ripple? We're just going to go ahead and send you some free money because it's been such a hard time for you, right? They don't give a fuck. You're never going to hear from these people. So for me, no project deserves your feelings either because they're never going to give you their feelings. All right. So basically, I'm down to chat. If you guys still got any questions, let me know. If not, we're just kind of chilling. We're at a chart request. We've ran through every single chart you guys have asked. So far today, we have covered. Let me write down that last one so I don't forget it. JASMY was the last one. We've covered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 charts. So we've absolutely knocked it out of the park. We've done Bitcoin, Ethereum, ENS, ONDO, AERO, Solana, ROAR, GME, AIOZ, FARTBOY, SHX, XRP, CTSI, METAFOX, Hype, Link, Planter, INJ, PYTH, Virtual, and JASMY. So we have covered nearly everything you could have. So as always, guys, if you could share this stream with people, help me get my name out there, smash up that like button, you know, and just share it with your friends. If you enjoyed today's content, you enjoyed the way things went. Other than that, I have nothing else for you guys. We've been going for 2 hours. I'll be back here next Monday in the live stream. Also, I put the Discord link in the comments here, and I'll pin that to the top so that everybody can find it whenever you come. And if you have any further questions, do hit me up anytime. I'm very open in my DMs on Twitter if you have more questions, but come join the Discord and let's talk about things and see what's going on with you guys and cover any projects you might have. So thank you all guys for your time. Thank you for coming today. Thank you for hitting the like button, subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you guys soon in the Discord. Bye, everybody.